so much for willing to be part of Careers in Action second episode on architecture. Before we proceed, can you please introduce yourself and what you do in DP Architects?
Okay. I'm Ellina, Architect Ellina Suhaida binti Abdul Rahman. That's my full name. So I'm more comfortable if someone calls me Elle. So I'm in DP Architects. I'm one of the 4 directors presently for the Malaysia office. We do have offices around the world. Our Singapore is the HQ, and basically currently I'm managing projects, overseeing projects, looking into the design and ensure everything complies to the regulations, and basically sign the certificate or birth certificate of a building. So that's basically what we do day-to-day basis. And we also take care of the staff that we have. We have currently about 70 staff in KL office. So as a director, we take care of them.
Great. We can tell that DP Architects is a very big firm. So what did your education journey look like for you to get here?
Okay. Architecture journey, in order for you to become an architect or with an AR title, we must pass 3 parts of I would say professional levels. First would be part 1. Part 1 is when after you go once you enter university, there is a degree called architectural studies, or it varies from school to school. So that will be part 1 of architectural studies. And then either you go for a year out or you go for internship for 3 to 6 months before you enter your part 2. Part 2 is another level of nowadays you call it masters. During my time it was double degree. So that will be part 2 in architectural Bachelor of Architecture. It is called now Masters of Architecture. During my time it was Bachelor of Architecture. And after that, you have to work for minimum 2 years. You have to fill your logbook, and after that, you sit for exam. The exam is a professional practice exam. You have to pass your oral exam first. If you fail, you have to repeat your oral exam. If you pass, then you have to go through a paper written exam. So that will require 2 papers to be passed before you actually allow yourself to become or to be called architect lah, AR. So it's a long journey for many people, but nowadays I think the younger generations they are a bit more rigorous in terms of getting the qualifications. I'm happy to see that more architects getting the AR at younger age.
You mentioned a 2-year logbook thing. Is that an internship or is that proper work?
It's a proper work. It's a proper work. So as an employer, basically, for me personally, I will make sure that the younger generations, when they grad, they have to let me know what are their plans. If they say they want to sit for part 3, I'll make sure that they go through each and every stages of a project. Because if you see one completed building, actually, for example, in hospital, one hospital will require 7 years of process, from the start of sketching the first line that you draw, the submission to authorities to make sure everything complies, the regulation and the construction, machineries coming in up to the completion. So meaning that to get electricity, to get all the lifts installed, everything will take you so many years to complete. So for young graduates, if they want to fill the logbooks within 2 years, meaning they have to try out multiple projects at one time, because a project will take you 7 years. So yes, typically so bigger projects lah, 7 years. So if the first 2 years you maybe just do drawings, so we will try to give you more exposure in order to get to make sure that you tick all the boxes in the logbook.
Alright, thank you so much. So from there we can see that architecture takes a very long time to like get a certain achievement. But what made you choose architecture despite that very long study period?
Okay. It started off with my dad. My dad is a structure engineer, civil structure engineer. So when he studies last time, so we were in Glasgow University. He was in Glasgow University. We were there following him. So I always look at his book, especially the bridges and the structure. So I am not in awe of the structure part, but I'm in awe of the building part. So from little, I've always have this exposure of going to site and looking into the process of really hard work. But I thought that it's really interesting because later on I get to know that architecture is actually in the middle of many skills. You must be good in science part. You have to be good in philanthropy. For example, you have to give solution a solution not just structural, not just technical part, but it's also for community. Because sometimes an architect we think slightly differently. Like for example, just a simple toilet. Sometimes we take it for granted that okay, male and female toilet, it should be the same. But our problem as a woman is what? We always have to queue. So actually architects we always look into like, oh, actually it's not working. Women must have larger toilets. We must tackle this issue of people queuing, for example. That is just a small matter. But those are the things that I think it excites me in the way that oh, there's a lot of things that we can do, solutions that we can give to others.
Great answer, thank you. So what does a typical day, I know you talked about this a bit in your introduction just now, but what does a typical day in your role look like as a director in DP Architects?
Oh, it is quite simple in a way that usually morning wise I would just take some rhythm. Need to have a proper meal in the morning because you need to take care of your health. Being an architect is quite stressful, I have to say, because it's almost 24/7. The site will go on 24/7, so you have to make sure that you are always alert. But we do have to consider that our health and our family is important too. So spending time with the family in the morning before I get to work. Coming to work, at first I will check most of the projects. I will speak to the team leaders. I will check on all the issues, whether there are certain things to tackle. So by 2 o'clock, usually I would clear my email. So make sure that the emails, the important ones are read and clear off. And then towards the evening, I will basically sit with my team and then we discuss things to select or things to do. So those are typical days. There are certain days I will have to move or I have to be in at site. So from morning we'll be at site checking whether the progress is okay. We have meetings, and unfortunately that site now the one is very important to us is in JB. So I have to wake up at 4 and then be in KLIA about 6 plus. Travel to JB and then come back the day after. So that would be the typical schedule.
You mentioned work, health, and family balance. So how do you maintain that balance in such a demanding profession? You know, traveling to JB here and there.
The recipe I think is just be 100% whenever you are. So when I'm at work, I'm 100% as DPNs. And at home, basically there is a time where when we eat is 100% towards the family, and we have to really appreciate what we have. I think those are really important. Health, I think for me, I have to learn from mistakes or even series of events that I had in my life. So basically those I have to force myself to take care. So yes, but in terms of work, for me, because I said earlier that we have to work almost round the clock. So I would take some time, usually whenever we watch TV or something. So that time is the one that I will check a bit and then I will reply and then go back to the family.
You mentioned learning some things from your mistakes regarding to health. So any tips you would want to give anyone out there who's struggling balancing between their mental health or maybe physical health even with work?
Oh, okay. Mental health is important. Being a woman in construction industry, predominantly a man-led, you always have this fear of people cannot rely on you, or people giving perception as such. For me, at first you have to build your confidence in the way of first getting knowledge, and second is that you may feel like you want to push 300%, but to me, plan yourself. Just give 100% first, and then have that confidence in you. Because sometimes if you push 300%, I had that experience before, end up you will get sick because you have too much pressure in yourself, while everybody else is just go with the flow. So for me is that perhaps you push maybe 110, but don't go up to 130 because 300%, because your body will tell you that I'm not happy, so they will tell it. They know, the body will tell it. So I think those are the things we have to be always mindful. So for example, you can meditate, just be quiet, looking at green. So those are the things to clear your head, plan, and after that you plan your day. Lunch, never work during lunchtime. Have your break. If you eat just a small break, then you go for a walk. And towards end of the day, perhaps journaling is good. I do that. I write in journals, but just a short sentence of what I want to do tomorrow, or what I am thankful for the day. Gratitude is very important. So those are the things I think you feel that is so simple, but actually, for example, I write the gratitude. It makes me think, and really, actually I have a lot of things. Even though you're very tired, I gain a lot of things today. I think those are very important. Nourish you inside.
Thank you. That is very important. I think gratitude plays a big role, even in my life. And I think you touched a bit on this just now when you mentioned being a woman in a very male-dominated industry. So, what are some common misconceptions the public or even students have when it comes to being an architect or just the industry in general?
Okay. So usually men is like automatically they think men can be a leader. While I think throughout my journey and at present the job in JB that I have, the leads are all of them are women except for one guy in my team. And of course in the meetings, whenever I was younger, or even nowadays, most of the meeting room is filled with men, but you are women, and architects in the construction industry, we are the lead. So actually we are the lead consultants. We take care of our engineers and also other consultants. So in a way that we are the coordinator, and we are the one who sometimes dictates how things are going. So if you're a woman, the first thing usually people like, oh, who is this? So who's your boss? Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm the one who leads this entire project. So you always feel like people will underestimate you, but fear not, because if you have that knowledge, you have that rigor, you can do anything. Because I realize whenever that happens in the first meeting, second meeting will be less, third meeting everything is gone. So they will give you the space, they will give you the spot where you actually belong, which is in the leadership part. So not to worry.
Okay.
Just to show you, this is the book that I worked on
This is
last year, 1 year.
Tengok
So
ni guys.
so actually it's a teamwork, really rigorous work. We did it starting 2021, but getting the book compile and compose properly, that was a really crazy work within 1 year. So I was one of the main committee members, together with bomber engineers. So we composed this guidebook, and this will be the third edition, and it will be referred to by everyone, clients, consultants, even contractors. So for me, this is one of my achievement within 2024 lah. Just to share with you.
Congratulations. And I think to dive into this part, right? Let's go into more specific questions relating to your career.
Okay.
So let's first start off with this book then.
Oh, okay.
What made you want to do this book, and what was the biggest challenge? Because you have to work with many parties, like all the bomber. So what made you want to start, and what was the biggest challenge in making this book?
Okay. It started off by one of it after you get your part 3, because part 3 is we have to read 10 acts, akta.
Oh.
So we have to read through. So it's not just lawyers read all those acts. We have to master 10 acts altogether. There's plus more, but during the exam we have to master that. So we are so used to study, and then when I get my part 3, I feel quite empty. So then I joined the PAM committee in the fire protection working group. So from then, we are building diagrams and references for seminars actually. So there were 20 of us. We did slides. We composed slides for 3 years. We did that, and suddenly Bomba informed, oh okay, we want to change this into a book. Then everyone scrambled. So during that time, to change slides into a book, that was really difficult. But for me, I took the opportunity, because during that time I was the PAM council member. So I choose to be okay. Let's just do this, because someone have to be the one who's actually coordinating and looking into this. So I was in that position, and as hard as the book is, but I got a lot of opportunity, because I'm learning from the senior architects who really terror lah, in terms of all this information, and also engineers, and I can work directly with bomber. So what are their concern about fire at home, so things like that. So those are the things I learn. I get to learn from them. So in a way that for me, as much as learning that, the one important thing is how to deal with others, like printers, the one who's doing graphics, how to make sure that the books is readable. Those are the processes that we have to go through. So yeah, I think that is a real challenge for me last time, but it's very satisfying.
You mentioned Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia, PAM, and congratulations on being elected again for this year's council. What is your role in PAM besides doing all these fire protection seminars, etc., and what are some things you work on as a member?
Okay. We have 13 council members plus the office bearer. We call it, basically those are the president, VP, DP, honorary secretary, and also honorary treasurer. So those are our bosses lah, in a way. So 13 of us. So what we do, we have monthly meeting, but we look into the issues pertaining architects. So I'm in the professional practice part. There were also people in social, in awards and competition, in internationalization. So this one meaning they discuss outwardly with other countries. So in PAM professional practice, we look into the matters of what are the issues that architects have, the knowledge base or lack thereof among architects. What are the recent changes in acts and regulations, and sometimes we have to meet with the ministries to voice our concern, whether this is actually is not the actual process, or this is actually we give our opinion whether how to make it better. So during my term, I did go to Bomba a lot. I went to KPKT housing ministry, then with others as well. So we do deal with local authorities as well. For example, Majlis Sampanjaya, DBKL, MBJB. So meaning that in PAM, it's very important for us to actually take care of our members, the architects. So we have to take care of the profession, and by doing all these engagements.
You mentioned bringing up a lot of issues surrounding architects. Right now, what is the biggest issue, or has there been an issue yang dah lama dah in the industry?
Okay, architecture is a business. We are consulting business. The issue nowadays is that architects, actually we have a guidebook, and that is a minimum fee or income that we can get. That is the minimum. So it can be more, but it cannot be less. It's just that with the industry moving fast, and there's a lot of competition in a way, and government has also changed their stand. So meaning that this minimum of scale is not being used. The fee amount that we receive is much less, while our responsibility is getting more. And we have to pay staff salary, we have to run the offices, the capex, opex that we have to deal with. And for example, we have to take care of the staff, we have to ensure bonuses, increments. So the business need to thrive as much as our architecture profession. So that is the issue nowadays. We are not paid enough, or sometimes we have done and okay. The sad thing is, for lawyers and doctors, no one will question how much they are charging. It's like, oh, I charge you 50 ringgit for medicine. Okay, we'll pay you 50 ringgit. But for architects, we have to do all the works, we have to draw everything, and sometimes when we charge the client, they are not paying. So those are the issues nowadays, and those are the things that we have to look into.
Do you think this will eventually change in the future?
We have to work on it. I think there is improvement in a way that nowadays the ministry have another method to do so lah. So I think it will be improved, but someone have to lead into it lah. For example, PAM need to work closely with. There is also the governing body for architects are Lembaga Arkitek Malaysia. So we have to work closely with LAM in order to take care of our members.
What's the difference then between LAM and PAM?
Okay, LAM is the one that is keeping the registry of all architects. They do the exam, they have a disciplinary. For example, one architect design and build and sign CCC or birth certificate of a building that is not really completed. So they will after a report, they will be brought up to disciplinary action. So they are looking into discipline, registering practices, the architects, and also IDs, and basically a governing body for us.
Alright, thank you so much, Architect L. As far as I know, it takes a very long time for a person to become a qualified architect. You mentioned 3 parts, if I'm correct, just now. But at your age, you're considered quite young to become a director at DP Architects. What have been some things that have helped you in growing your career?
Oh wow. Okay. I am very focused. I was very focused in the job that I've done. I think I'm quite determined in a way that if I want something, I will get it. However, getting the top position in the office, in the Malaysia office, it's not something that I aim for. I was aiming for access to information. I'm aiming for getting my part 3, and then I go outward. I go to PAM, join the committees in order for me to know more people, to gain more access and knowledge. I think from there, it somehow improve me in terms of confidence, improve me in terms of the way I speak to people, the way I manage the staff, because I also look into leadership a lot and see how other architects, how they do in leadership, because I don't like the feeling of people being scared of me. So the people that I work with, they are all we almost try to do a flat surface kind of whenever we discuss something. So if I said I like a blue carpet, but my team members, 7 of them said no, we want a grey carpet, so we will put that into consideration, we will debate, and then we will say okay, yes, let's go for the grey carpet. So things like that, I think, with the respect that I get, alhamdulillah, from the team, and also I think those are the things that the management sees of what I can do, and I do deliver the projects. So I think that's how I raise. I do not know how to say promote yourself. I think I'm that quiet. I always sit in the corner, but thankfully someone saw me. Yeah.
So, did you then complete your part 3 while working?
Yes.
How did you balance between study or reading for part 3 while working on a lot of projects?
This question I get a lot from many others, because even the part 3 candidates, they will also ask this. And actually, if you run a project, you do your own project, it's the same as you study part 3, because day to day you will have this similar problem, and then you will have to face how to resolve bomber issue, regulation issue, or this. Basically, you're working, but actually you are studying. So what you can do is that you face all this problem at work, and then you go back home, then you open up, look into the clauses or regulation, you find out the issues in a way that you are studying at work. So the other tips, if the exam is around the corner, so what I did is that I came to office slightly early, say 8 o'clock. So work start at 9, so I have 1 hour. So I drink coffee, relax, do some calculations, do some exercises. Lunchtime, 1 hour, I take half an hour for lunch, half an hour just to do exercise, and at night just read some information or some acts. That's about it. That's all I do, and then just sit for the exam. I think that is important. The continuous learning, wanting to do continuous learning, that is important.
Alright, thank you. Now, setting that aside, let's talk about projects. You have worked on multiple big projects such as Park Royal Hotel and Alice Smith School. What was the most meaningful project to you, and how has that helped you shape your career?
Okay. Yes, I've done quite a few. I would share maybe 2, not 1. Park Royal Hotel actually Park Royal Collection Kuala Lumpur, consisting 2 parts. One part is the refurbishment part, and the other one is a car park block that we demolish and then we rebuild into service apartment. So that one to me is really meaningful, because first is the good team that I had. I have during that time I have 1 senior and 2 juniors, and it's memorable for the team because we have a pact that by the time project completed, all of us were AR. So yes, we achieved that. So that is one sweet memory. The second one is that there is a collaboration. We have many contractors in, but we managed to tackle each and every one of them. And towards the end of the day, we actually received a PAM Gold Medal Award. So that is quite achievement for the team and also the contractors, because if you design nicely, you do fantastic design, but if your contractor cannot build it accordingly, you will go to the drain. So that is for me a testament of a really excellent teamwork. The other one I have to qualify. The design is a collaboration. It's between DP Architects Malaysia and also FDAT Architects in Singapore. They did the ID. If you go to the Park Royal Collection Kuala Lumpur, you can see the ID part is fantastic. It's by them. The facade is by them. Part of it, the front part, and we did 100% for the service apartment. So good to see that they are fully occupied most of the time. The prices has gone up. So for me, it's meaningful because there's a lot of levels that we have to deal with and we overcome it. So and it's a successful project. So to me, that is very important. Okay, the second one is just a short one. It is a project that I'm doing right now. Is ICQ complex. ICQ complex is immigration, ICQ, immigration, custom and quarantine complex. So this is a project in JB. They call it RTS. Is a shuttle train from JB to Singapore. So within half an hour you can get to Singapore and release right away. You don't need to go through another immigration. So what's unique with this project is that the project duration is only 2 years. If anyone understand, we have about 1 million square feet to build, and there's a lot of changes to the project. 2 years is a very short time, like I tell you earlier, right? 2 years is to design, 5 years is to build, typically. But this project is 2 years to build, so everything is crammed. And I have to say I have a fantastic project team, and we have to move back and forth. There's a lot of things that we have to deal with. We have 11 agencies, Malaysia, custom, Singapore part, and a lot of safety issues, security issue, keselamatan negara, in fact, that we have to deal with. So that is the most exciting project, because to me it's very tough, and not many have experienced this. It's like an airport, but it's for train. And one building you have Malaysia clearances and you have Singapore border immigration clearances. So we don't have that here yet. We have, I think the first in the world was in Hong Kong. So to have this and to be able to do this, I think this is quite remarkable for me.
So are you building the station, or does that include all the railways to Singapore?
Okay. The station is by another architect. The station is actually the crown jewel of the site. We are the process that they have to go through before the station. So as you arrive, you wanted to clear immigration. So that is the building that we have to face first. That is the building that we are doing. We are not the star in that site, but the processes, I think that is something challenging.
So you mentioned how a lot of the projects that people usually do, that it's like 2 years to design and 5 years to build, but this one is just 2 years to design and build. How does one determine the period of time that you have, or who gives that to you?
The client or the government, in this case the government, because there were some issues with the project earlier on. So the contractor that was selected, the one that I'm working with, they only have 2 years in order for the government to meet the deadline of 1st January 2027, for the services to be up and running. So that is the biggest deadline that we have. So working backwards, we only have 2 years. So at that point of time lah. But looking at the progress now, the contractor is fantastic. So we just have to work with them. So during this time, there are certain things. For example, if you are interested to do, students interested to do architecture, for me, the best thing is actually to find a way of how to work with others. It's not that we always think that we are the lead. People have to always follow us, because sometimes we are lacking some input also. So we have to work with the builders. Sometimes if they are not happy, we need to know, why are you not happy doing this? Is there another way? Is there how to improve this? How to make it nicer? So with opening up, they will give you more than that. more that you ask for.
So it seems that you are experienced in a variety of types of constructions, but I also read in your bio that you have a role in healthcare typology. So do you mind explaining more about your role there in Malaysia's urban scheme?
Okay, so we do have small healthcare projects that we did with True Connections that we always maintain. This is actually a trust that has been given to me by the board members in Singapore. So for me is that healthcare is something that we haven't done 100% in Malaysia. We haven't done hospital, while in Singapore we have been doing that. For me, I'm taking this as an opportunity because healthcare, hospitals is said to be one of the toughest job that an architect can do. There's a lot of expertise that is involved. So for me, I'll take this as the next challenge. So for example, I completed this RTS job in JB. For me, my next focus, I already started to do hospitals. So I give myself a 5 years plan. So we have to do that always. We give 5 years plan and we think about starting small, collaborate with others first, collaborate with Singapore, gain the knowledge, start to train the staff here to be well versed of the requirements, and then we will start to push for getting hospital jobs. So even though we haven't really started on that part, but we have involved in quite a few processes already in order to get there. So in a way that my deadline will be 2027 to hopefully land a healthcare project. I think we are close to that. So hopefully in few years time I can do that.
So there's a lot of areas that you can dive into. Before one goes into that certain area, for example healthcare or RTS, what do they need to know?
Oh, okay. So for me the basic building, how to build a building, that is the basic thing that you have to understand first. And how to work with contractors, you have to understand the normal process, and then you amp up your knowledge by understanding how to do another project base. So for me, nobody has done this RTS before, so you have to learn along the way, and you always have to be active, always question things, and always think about, okay, this is the process, but what if I do another way? And you brainstorm. I think those are the times where you actually try to get the best outcome of something. So for me, if you want to be a healthcare consultant, healthcare architect, you have to be familiar of how the processes in the hospital as a bare minimum. So sometimes I do hospital visit and see, oh, how they do this. And sometimes if you go to hospitals, right, for example, Glen Eagles, you wait at the lobby, the lift lobby, then you will see that it's a plan. I always take photo of that, and then learn, oh, how, oh, why is it like this? Why is it like that? Then you go up and then you just walk around. It's actually a self-learning thing. So it's quite interesting if you like it. So if you are passionate, you will find a way to do something.
You mentioned being healthcare architect. So does that mean architects can choose what area they want to dive into?
Yes, we can. But we have to, like I said earlier, we business. We run business, so we always have to think about, to get projects like hospital is not easy to come by. So meaning that you always have something to rely on, other projects that we have to do in order to meet the to cover our expenses in the office. So meaning that we can pick and choose of what we want, maybe target one projects that we really like, and then the rest you do in order to harness the skill to get your firm to be well known, and to feed the family of people. So for me it's like, we have to wear both hats, like for example a business owner, how to sustain the office, but also pursue what we are passionate about. All four of us that we have, we pick and choose of what we kind of like. Even though I haven't done healthcare, I've done others. I aim to do healthcare because for me that is a new challenge. My other expertise I would say is for hospitality and also schools. I did the last one that I did is Perdana Park City School. So that one we complete after Alice Smith. So for me, I can still do other projects in order to sustain.
So I think then we can dive into future-oriented questions. So do you think there is a demand for architects in Malaysia, or as we mentioned just now, a few areas? Is there any specific area in architecture that not many explore right now?
Architect is still a demand because it's not easily automated. Even though we have a lot of AIs that can generate how a building may look like, but the social studies, finding solutions, those actually still come from your brain and from discussions. So architect is still well demand. There's a lot of new buildings coming up. There's data center. We are looking into ICT, and also data center is something that architects starting to look at. Malaysia transportation is something that we look into. Healthcare is always in demand. Malaysia always look into medical tourism. If you realize, sometimes you see Indonesians or Filipinos, they're in Malaysia just to get treatment. So those are the things that it is worthwhile to look into if they are interested in. But some architects, they are specialized, for example, just bungalows. They don't do other things. They're not interested. They just do beautiful bungalows and get awards for it. So actually, it's depending on your passion. If you liked it, and then pursue.
You mentioned transportation, and to me, when someone mentions an architect, it's just building or designing. So is that a misconception? Is there any other things architects do?
Oh, we do a lot of things. For example, bridge design in Putrajaya, you have a lot of designs, right? Those are basically architects. They work into how it looks like. Basically, we look into the aesthetic of things lah. So we are involved in many things as well. Sometimes it's not even building. It's just how to link to one spot to the other, where you have parks and walkways that is nice. So sometimes architect work on that in that sense as well. So there's a lot of things that we are involved in. Transportation, for example, the if you can Google later, RTS link, that design, the one that we are doing now is not we the one is building now. It's actually an award-winning design that was chosen by Sultan Johor himself during that time. So the PAM held the competition. So I don't know how many hundreds architects went for that competition. They designed, and 3 was selected as shortlisted, and then 1 was handpicked by HRH. So for me, architects, we look into aesthetic, but there's a lot of functionality that we look into also. But yes, we do sessions as well.
So you've mentioned functionality of designs. How do you determine if a design can function? You know, you don't just simply draw, am I right? There are a lot of things or factors that contribute to a certain drawing. So how do you look into that?
Okay, firstly, we need to understand when we draw something, if we have to do a imaginary walkthrough of a space, even though like you are just designing apartment. So we need to see how people use the space, and in future what else that they can how we change in time. For example, like currently you are staying with your mom, later on you may have your own home. So what will your room be? Will it stay the same? So one day if you are getting married, then you come back to your home, your mom's home, and then whether a single bed will work, whether you are sharing the room again, when you have husband, so you cannot share the room with the siblings. So sometimes, right, all these factors like current position, what is the composition of family, later on how it looks like. So all this actually sometimes we try to see how things are done. The example that we had really a huge change is when COVID happens. So people start to work at home, and we did a research. Our HQ did a research that we look into where actually people work during that time and what are the main difficulties. So most people work in the living room or their dining room, but the difficulty is that it's so noisy. So after that we start to change our drawing, our housing or apartment layout to have like a study nook or a small study area in order for people to actually work in the in their home. So before this we don't have that. So meaning that the evolving lifestyle is something that we have to understand always lah.
Besides doing like surveys, I'm pretty sure having the experience to know all of these things is pretty important as well. Is there any other way someone would get to know about all of these changes or all of these things that you might consider besides experience?
Experience, first we need to know, the other one will be regulations. We need to understand. Malaysia, we have building bylaw, so we have to make sure that we meet, because sometimes we get creative but we forgot that there is a regulation that we have to follow through. A minimum size of bedroom, the height, ceiling height. So actually all those is something, a book that we have to follow through. So it's a building bylaw that everyone, especially the Part 3 architects, we have to understand. So actually the building bylaw just not just saying about the space standards, it's also about protection, fire protection in a building. So part of that bylaw is actually translated into that book. So we took part of that and we make it into diagrams, so easier to digest and easy to refer to. Checking the drawings are very important because the process is like this. Whenever we design, we have to submit to local authority. We call it building plan. Building plan it's actually signed by architects. We will have our chop. We will have to sign, say that we are conforming to all the regulations, building regulations or UBBL lah. So for me to sign that, I need to check everything is compliant. And then when we submit building plan to local authority, we have to submit also a plan to bomba. Bomba is to ensure that all the fire protection, the evacuation strategy, make sure that a building people can discharge in case of fire, they can leave the building safely. All is actually embedded in the drawings. So by doing that, I have to check myself. But I planned this since much earlier on. I need to make sure that the one that is handling the project is just as good. So this is why I always encourage them to take Part 3. All this knowledge is actually gained when you do Part 3. So if you pass, you do have the basic knowledge. So what I make sure is that my left hand, they know what they are doing. They check first, and then I will do the final check before I sign. And if I found something wrong, they have to amend accordingly, or they have to do it fast before I won't sign it if it's not right. So I think those, because with that approval, only then we can start the construction. We have to make sure that the contractor build accordingly. And the most important part is when the project completed, there is a certificate of completion and compliance that the architect have to sign, and we are liable for that building. In the case of anything goes wrong, we are responsible for that building the rest of our lives. So a building that I sign, maybe when I'm 90 years old, something wrong with that building, they can still search for me, because the responsibility is up to the end of your life. Very heavy, I will have to say. So this is why some people don't even like to sign. So the certificate of completion and compliance, I whenever my team give me that to sign, right, I won't sign immediately. I will sit on it first, I sleep, and the next day, take a deep breath, sign. Because that is a huge responsibility for architects to sign that. So yes, it's scary, but this is why I said passion will get you through.
Passion will get you through. I love that. How do you think the role of architects will evolve with the integration of AI?
Oh, our role is AI may help us, may give shorten our time in order to do, for example, pretty pictures, renderings. Because sometimes if you see artist impression, nowadays AI can do that fast. So those are the things help us. We call AI is still part of the tool, but they are not the one who thinks for us lah. They help us to give certain option, maybe color selection. If we don't do manually, AI can do that. So it makes the turnover of process faster lah. So to me it helps, but I don't think that AI will ever control us lah. We have to know how to utilize it proper.
What are some AI tools that you are utilizing right now?
Oh, okay. I am not using, the team may use it. I don't know how to use it. So AI tools, of course, ChatGPT help us. We do the record Firefly. I can't remember the name. Is to record meeting minutes. Those are quite accurate. We just have to check afterwards. So that actually saves us about 4 to 5 hours of writing minutes, which is very boring. Mid Journey is one of the rendering tools to make pretty pictures that we use. And there's one that we develop in house. I can't remember the name, I'm sorry, but we do planning works. For example, you have a piece of land, how many car parks I can fit with the building design, triangle, squares, whatsoever. So as we change, then you can see they can let us know how the car park layout works, or even the residential layout works. So those I can't remember the name. It was developed internally, but yeah, we do have that for a testing. Then we start to fine tune it accordingly.
Now, before we end, Architect L, a quick Q&A session from questions from our followers on Instagram. First one, is it true that if you major in architecture, you won't have any free time at all?
No, we don't. Okay. No, that is not true. We do have free time. It's just that what we do during our free time is something we can decide. We have to decide what we are going to do in free time. And also free time is actually you determine. Because there's also a saying that there's no retirement age for architects. Some architect, like really famous one, they work until like their 90s. They can still sketch. I don't know how they do it. I don't think I want it, but but you have to select your free time. And if you decided that you want to work all the time, then you won't have free time. So actually free time is determined by us. And how to get that free time, you have to plan. You have to plan your day, you have to plan your work, and you have to be smart about how to manage something, your team, manage your time. There's a lot of management involved, but it's only to benefit everyone. Yeah. So yes, we do have free time.
That's great to hear. Second question, is green building in Malaysia merely a marketing concept?
Oh, this is a fire question. Okay, green building in Malaysia, actually, it is one of the marketing tool nowadays. I would say used by clients and some parties lah, I would say. But in design, we actually always have that so-called green aspect in our design. For example, the building orientation, we try not to face south south pula, east and west. In Malaysia, east and west, we try not to face the building east and west because the solar heat gain, the space will be very hot. So there's a lot of consideration architects do naturally, and actually our traditional buildings are all really green buildings. So those are actually embedded in architecture already. For us, it is not a marketing concept. It has always been part of architecture.
Third question, what are some skills people do not realize an architect must need?
We have to be people person. We have to have soft skills because with the amount of knowledge that we have or amount of design skill that we have, if we do not have the soft skill, presentation skill, research skill, how to speak with others, how to convince people, it's very hard for us to expand or being accepted by people outside architecture. And if you do not have a good communication skills, negotiation skill, how to get your building built, because your engineer don't want to work with you, your contractors don't want to build for you. So I think those are the how to say it's a must have for architects, but we never say it.
Throughout studying architecture, what was your worst experience or hardest thing you went through, and how did you overcome that?
Whenever I do a project, it's always like, wow, this is the worst experience. Well, it's just being dramatic. Worst experience, say today, I would say that I can't think of anything because there always be a bad point or low point in a project or even in our everyday life. The beauty about architecture is whenever you have something good going on, you forget everything else. Whenever a building is completed and you love it, it's done based on what you design for, or even get a recognition from it, or even your client praise you. All the bad things that happen just wash away and forget it. This is why at this point I can't think of anything, and it has to be taken as a learning point. Whenever you have a bad experience, there must be something that you learn from it. If you take it and then you keep it to your heart, you won't grow. So the best thing is that you turn it around, ask yourself what can you learn from this experience, how you can overcome, and then you move forward. So for me, I learned the best from all the low points in the projects.
You mostly talked about like after one becomes an architect,
Mm.
but right now there are a lot of like stressful students and a lot of mental health issues among students. So how was studying architect for you? Was it hard, and was it all worth it?
Okay. Everyone is different. Studying architecture to me is quite hard because I came from a science school. So for me, it's always black and white, whether the answer is right or wrong. Where architecture is always about what are your studies, are the key points valid, can you prove your point. People always argue with you whether is your proposal really strong, or is it really is it a weak point that you are just trying to strengthen. So in a way that for me, architecture is hard in a way that there is no black and white about it. So a tutor may love it, and another tutor may hate it as much. But I would say that if you love architecture, the school part is very small part, a learning part for you to design, to get over to the working experience. My part one was tough because yes, then again I was a science student going through all this. It's how to say something that I cannot justify or I cannot determine as black or white is quite hard for me. The beauty part is that when I do after my part one, before I go to part two, our school asked us to work for 1 year at a firm. So during that time, I fell in love with architecture all over because then I know that the architect's work is actually very interesting. There's a lot of things that we have to do. It's not just the one that we did in at school where we design things like that. We also have to talk with others, do a lot of investigation, social investigation. There's a lot of things that I learned during that 1 year, and when I get to part 2, things are easier because you're focused that I want to get over this part 2, and then I want to work, and then you can so-called fly lah, in a way. So don't sweat at the small stuff. Things may look really bad at this point, but trust that it's just a process for you to go through. I understand nowadays people are talking about mental health and things like that, but I would say that mental health is one if you are clinically certified having some mental issues. Another one is just, for me, is stress. And you have to think that this is the point in time that you are very young, whether you want to turn it around to make good of it, or you want to dwell in that sadness or depression or even the hardship that you receive. And I have to tell you that you may see people or the lecturers are a bit tough, but in the real world, for example, if you are working in architecture firm, if the deadline is 12 noon, and if you submit at 12:01, you are disqualified. So what if you have 1 month's work, you did everything, you print, and then you want to submit to a client to get a job, and the job will give you say 2 million or 5 million of money in the for the office, but you submit at 12:01, everything will go to the drain. So meaning that your efforts are wasted. So this is why I also learned from the from my working experience before, time management is very important. So you can dwell on it, like the pain that you have or the sadness or the stress of learning, but at the same time you need to learn how to get through this process.
If I have a foundation or degree in architecture, besides an architect, is there any other thing or job I can do?
Yes, actually, there's really one famous photographer. Oh, actually not one. There's a few that I know of. They're from architecture. Architecture, actually you can diverse because your skills are honed to bring aesthetic forefront. So there are some magazine auditors with architecture background, because they know how to compose a fashion magazine nicely, because we are trained to do aesthetic things. So actually architecture, if you do the degree part, then after that you can select whatever that you want. So if I'm not doing architecture, I think I would like to do fashion design, or even just a personal shopper, to design someone, a stylist, because I think those are the things that excites us.
That's great. Is it true that you can only get a good job or okay-ish pay after a certain time of being an architect? And is it long?
Nowadays, no, I don't think it's long nowadays. Previously, there may be a step that, you need to work after 5 years, then you may have a better place to work, or better position in the office. But nowadays there's a lot of young architects that they open up their studio, and it's not just architecture studio, they build also, they do sculptures, they do buildings, extension of homes. So they are quite young. So the younger generation, I would say the millennials, they're a bit more brave in a way, that whoever that is good with them, they will start to reward, and they will start to say, you are a key person here, but you need to learn a lot. So for me, the opportunity to lead is faster with the younger generation bosses nowadays.
That's great. Now, final question to end our session for today. There are a lot of students that just got their SPM results, and a lot of students are during their exam, like big exams right now. I think there's AS for A-level students.
A-levels.
Do you have anything to say to these students, and especially those that are wanting to dive into architecture?
Ah. Best of luck. I hope you fly in your in the results. You got the all flying colours. For me, SPM is just just a ticket. Like for example, do not fail your BM. You need to pass your BM in order to get to the universities. But SPM is just or A levels is just O levels is just the first step. To get through this exam, you have to be disciplined, things like that. So this will carry through in the architect to pursue your studies. For example, in architecture. And I have to say that we use some of the information that you learn, but you don't use all. So you will develop yourself really. A lot of your skills will be harnessed in within the degree part. So for me, the character building need to be done much earlier. For example, you need to be someone who plans your work, to be determined, positive thinking, able to work with others. That one you should start to harness as early as possible. So then when you go through architecture, I think with the communication skills, soft skills that you have, and the ability to go through sometimes sleepless night to finish up your work, you can get through the school very easily. Yeah, not to worry, it's really interesting.
Thank you so much, Architect L, for willing to be on our episode for architecture today. I hope that this episode can inspire a lot of students to dive into the world of being an architect. Thank you so much for your time, and that is where we will end our episode for today. Bye bye.
Thank you, Arena. Thank you. Bye.